All right, so I think again what we're going to do is I'm just going to kind of quickly go through some of the stuff in your notes and then do some of the practice problems at the end of it. So do you guys remember some of these shapes? So basic 3D objects.
Oh no, I've never heard
Oh
of
no, I've never heard of that.
Yeah, so if you don't, just remember that this is a page in your notes. You can always look back to it. So if a question says a rectangular prism, well, what it's talking about is a shape like this, right? So if you can't remember what it is, look back to your notes or Google it, right? You could go. You can always Google what a shape is. Like Google knows a lot of things, so you can do that too. Okay, nets of 3D shapes are really well here. Okay, so two-dimensional representation of a 3D object, right? That's just like unpacking the whole thing. So this one, right, says which of the following nets would not form a cube? Okay, so it's really like a three-dimensional thing, right? Where you need to imagine yourself actually folding this thing up, right, to see if it would end up giving you a cube when you did the whole thing. So if you think about this one, I think the way I would do that is if you folded, let's say, like this middle section, right, all the way around, you guys kind of see that that would, yeah, that would be like the middle section here, where like the three of them would end up, or the four of them would end up like bringing it together like that, like these four. And then really you just got one on the side and one on the other side. So those would be those two sides. So that one would work. Which one did not end up working? This one. And really, the reason why this one doesn't work is because if we folded this one all up, right, the same way, you end up having these two squares on the same side of it. So it wouldn't actually work out there. All right, let's move on. I'll let you guys kind of work through those and think about them. So, okay, right prisms and right cylinders. Okay, so when we say right prisms or right cylinders, do you guys know what I mean by that?
No, it's sort of like a right system.
Well, not really. When I say like right prism, what I really mean is it's like square, right? Like it's at right angles. You kind of see that that's like a right angle that way. Because you could have prisms where the thing was like leaning one way or the other way, so that wouldn't be considered a right rectangular prism. And then same with a cylinder, right? This is right because it's like just straight up and down. You could have a cylinder that was kind of cockeyed there, but it wouldn't be a right-eyed or a right cylinder. Okay, so if we're finding these ones, really like we have it broken down here into like red and purple, right? But in the end, all you're doing is finding the area of all the sides. And in this case, can you guys see that the area of the top and the area of the bottom of this rectangular prism are the same surface area? So what we could do there is just find the surface area of one of them and then multiply by 2. And that would give us the red part there, right? And then do the same for the purple. We could find the surface area of the purple and then multiply by 2, and that would give us the other end, the other side there. And then the front and the back faces too. All right. Same thing with a right triangular prism. We're really just finding the area of 2 triangles and then all these other rectangles. We'll do some examples though as we get going here. So, okay, let's see. So can you guys turn to the practice makes perfect one? We'll do these ones together. Don't forget though, like when you guys are doing your homework questions, there's these already completed ones for you, and they're handy, right? You guys might have questions like these, so just remember that they're there. They'll kind of show you how to do some too. Okay, determine the surface area of a cylinder with a diameter of 4 feet and a height of 10 feet. So if we're doing this one, guys, what I would recommend is I would have your formula sheet with you pretty much most of the time when you're doing these lessons. And let's go down to the formula for a cylinder. All right, so the formula for a cylinder is surface area is equal to 2 pi r squared plus 2 pi rh. So I'm going to write that down on the other page here. So just that step number 1 is we write it down. So we'll say, okay, surface area, or sometimes I just write it as area, like A, is equal to 2 pi r squared plus 2 pi r h. All right, now that is technically the formula, and let's figure out what we're even looking at here. So can you guys, I'll show you how to draw the cylinder. Okay, so just draw like a bit of like an oval like that, and then like the same oval below it, or similar. That was not very good. And then connect kind of the sides of the oval. So that'll kind of give you like a rough cylinder, right? And it tells us that the diameter is 4 feet. So diameter is on circles, right? So we want to figure out the diameter. That's going to be from here, right? One side all the way across. The diameter of this thing is 4. So from there to there. All right. And the height is 10. Can you guys right now, before I write it down, can you guys draw where you think the height would be on this? Okay, good. Okay, so the height would be, well, up and down, right? So the height's going to be 10. I don't care if you like don't write feet for the time being, just write the numbers down. We'll put the units in after. Okay, so now we really just have an equation that this needs to go into, right? So when it says the diameter is 4, well, my equation doesn't have diameter, does it? My equation has radius. How can we, if we know the diameter of that circle, how can we figure out what the radius is? It's 2, right? How'd you know it was 2?
Because you always take the diameter and take half of it, so you just
Half of it, yeah, divide by 2 really, right? So, yeah, the radius of this guy, we can think, so the radius there is 2. Okay, so R is 2. Now, technically, I'm going to show you like why this all works here in a second, but let's just throw these numbers in just to show you like how we would come up with the answer here. So let's just keep filling this in. It'd be the area is equal to 2 times pi. And now this is where we're going to do a substitution. I now know what the radius is. So instead of an R, I'm going to write what R is. R is 2. And what I always do is whenever I put a number in for a variable there, I always put it in brackets just to kind of remind myself that that's the one that went in. So this would be like 2, and then it's still squared. So it goes in as a 2, and it's squared. Plus 2 times pi, and then times again the radius, which was 2, and then the height was 10. All right. At this point, we can pretty much just grab our calculators and we can kind of start figuring this one out. Did you? Okay, so doing this first part, this is going to be 2 times, and then my pi button is up here. So 2 times pi, and then times 2. And then don't forget to square it. And on my calculator, it's right there, right? You guys see my square button? It's like x to the power of 2. You guys will all have something similar, right? So 2 squared. And then don't make this mistake because it looks like my answer is 4 right now. I still have to push equals if I want to figure out what that's all equal to. Okay, so what I recommend doing is writing that down now. We just figured out this front part. So this was 25.1327, and I'll just leave a bunch of like we can round wherever we want. I'm just gonna leave like 4, just so we can keep a bunch of accuracy there, right? Okay, and then I'm gonna do this part. So we'll just multiply all that together, and then we're gonna add. Do you guys remember in BEDMAS, like order of operations, you just add or subtract last? So just remember that we just do all the multiplying, dividing first, and then we add those together when we're done. So now we'll do the second part. So that one's gonna be 2 times pi times 2 times 10. And then don't forget to push equals. So 125, so plus 125.6637. Okay, so then the area is equal to, and we're just going to add those up. Okay, so we got, so one thing you guys can do with your calculators too, right, is this number is already in my calculator, like with a whole bunch of digits. So it's already there, so I can actually just go plus, right? And then this first number, so 25.1327. So yeah, 150.79. So then in the end, I would just, really you guys could just round it up even to 151, you know, or 150.8, like rounding that one up. Yeah, so both are good. Okay, and then what are our units? So 151 feet. Remember, we're doing area, right? So feet, remember from the last lesson? Squared, yeah, feet squared. And then circle your answer. Okay, so that's how you get the number, right? But like, just so we don't get like lost in everything that was happening there, let's actually dissect what this equation meant. So the area is equal to 2 pi r squared plus 2 pi r h. Now, if we think about that, you know what? Yeah. If we think about that with our... All right. So let's move on to another one. Okay. I'm going to get you guys started. I'm going to get you guys to finish because I feel like... So I'll get you started, but then you guys are finishing, okay? So the right triangular prism shown is 8.5 centimeters long. Okay, so they're just talking about that measurement. The triangular base has a height of 6 centimeters. Okay, so that's this one. And a base length of 5.5 centimeters and 2 identical sides, each measuring 6.6. So this is 6.6 up and down. Determine the surface area of the prism to the nearest square centimeter. So we just wouldn't have a decimal there, right? We just round to the nearest number. Okay, let's figure this one out. So what we got to do is we got to find the area of these two triangles, right? The one in the front, the one on the back. And then we got to find the area of, let's say, this face and the face on the back. And then do you guys see how, like, with those faces, right? Like this face here would be 6.6 times 8.5, right? That's like one length times the other. That would be different than the one on the bottom. The bottom square there is 5.5 times 8.5. So here, I'll just kind of color it again, like what we need to find. We got to find the triangles. And then we got to find this face, which is the same as the face on the back, right? There's like two of them are exactly the same. And then we're going to find the rectangle on the bottom. And with surface area, what we do is we just add them all together in the end. So we really just have, yeah, 3 different like shapes to figure out and then add them all together. So let's do the purple one first. Let's do the triangles first. Can anybody tell me what the area of a triangle is for the formula? Area is equal to... Yeah, base times height divided by 2, right? So you're going to clean this up a bit. So base times height divided by 2. Okay, so we're just kind of filling that in now. So here, I'm going to pause it. I'm going to let you guys try to figure out the area of those two triangles. Nice. So I'd write area is equal to, and then I'd be replacing those, right? So we work our way down. So what was the base? Yeah, 5.5 times the height of 6? Yeah? Divided by 2. What'd you guys get for that? Well, 16.5? All right, so 16.5. So just remember what we just found there. We just found the area of one triangle. Can you guys see that that triangle is exactly the same as that triangle? So what can we do if I just want to actually just... Times 2. Yeah, good. So if the area of this is 16.5 centimeters squared, I'm just going to go 16.5 centimeters squared times 2. So what's that equal to? Yeah, so 33 centimeters squared. Now, here's the strategy I use. That now, like, we just know that I've done both of those, right? So we're good to go. I know that in the end, I'm going to add up all my areas. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a box around that. And then when I'm done, everything in the box, I'm just going to add it all together. Okay, so let's move on to the next one. So that was the triangles. I'm going to erase this because we're just need a little bit more room. Let's do this face, right? So just this face right here. Probably could, right? I was going to find one, but then we might times by 2 or something in the end, right? So that right there, right? That red area, that's really just a rectangle, right? Can you see that that's just 8.5 by 6.6, like one side times the other? Okay, so we'll just say the area is equal to 8.5 times 6.6.
Which is 56.1.
So 56.1. So then, do you guys see, you could do it, I could do it again, I could add that again because it's the same as this side, right? But the other thing we could do is, how many are there? There's this one, and then there's one on the back side. So we can do the same little trick, right? There's 2 of these. So I'm going to go 56.1 times 2. So what's that? 112.2. Yeah. Perfect. Okay. And that was centimeters squared. So that covered this and the backside. Okay. So let's put a box around that because I'm going to add that up in the end. And we just have one more. So let's do the blue one now. And what are we missing? We found the triangles. We found the 2 sides. What's left? Which part of the triangle? The bottom. Yeah, the bottom, right? We haven't found that square on the bottom yet. Well, that's just a rectangle too. 5.5 by 8.5, right? That's just a rectangle going that way. So we're going to go, okay, so we're going to go the area of this one will be 8.5 times 5.5, which was, what'd you say?
It was 46.75.
Okay, 46.75 centimeters squared. And then I want that one for later, so I'm going to put a box around it. So there's all of my areas. I found the area of all the faces. What's our very last step here?
Do you plus them all?
We add them all. Yeah, we just add them all together. So we'll just say the area is equal to, and then, yeah. Yeah, so just adding them all up, we get 191.95 centimeters squared. And then just remember the way they asked the question. They said to the nearest square centimeter. Okay, the nearest square centimeter would just be 190. Well, it won't be 1 because we're going to round up, right? The 9 is going to round this up. So 192 centimeters squared. And then circle your answer. And that's pretty much it. That's how we do a surface area question. All right, let's keep going.